Your stroke mechanics shouldn't be like this, they should be like this. You must move into the ball. Your feet should follow your hand to engage the ball and maintain your position. Don't think the return from long pips is spinny, it just sinks. The ball just sinks, it doesn't have much spin. It lacks the heavy spin of an inverted rubber. Instead, the ball's trajectory is flat and it dives downwards. So, after a fast, long serve, make sure you move forward to meet the ball. Let me demonstrate with my backhand. Avoid doing this. You think the ball is spinning, but it's not. You've just failed to sync your power on contact. Move into the ball, sync your power, and drive forward. Remember this rule, never back away from the table. Whether after a topspin serve or a forehand shot, always move forward to meet the ball and do not retreat. The more you swing from a position far back, the less you engage the ball, and the weaker your shot will be. A chop block from long pips usually lands mid-table. If you back away, you immediately lose the ideal contact point. Therefore, treat a backspin return from long pips as topspin. For a topspin return, brush it as if it were backspin. You must be clear on what spin you intend to play. Don't just freeze after your serve, or you'll get caught by the spin. Remember that the spin from long pips is passive. It can't generate its own spin and only reverses the spin you impart. The third key point is rhythm. You must get your timing right against long pips. Some players rush their shots and miss the loop. So how do you maintain a good rhythm? Since you have the serve, you must decide beforehand whether you're setting up for a topspin or a backspin rally. You have to know what shot you want to play. If you're undecided, your rhythm will be chaotic. The return from long pips is very slow. Don't rush. Wait for the ball, set your feet, and then pause for a moment. Incorporate a clear pause in your timing. Whether you're looping or pushing, always wait for the peak of the bounce to execute your shot. Don't hurry. If you serve backspin and they lift it, the same principle applies. Don't rush, because the return from the pips is slow. You must adjust your stroke tempo. The rhythm against long pips is slower than against inverted rubber. Complete your full motion, don't panic. Long pips players thrive when you lose your rhythm. Establish a steady rhythm. Consciously wait for the right moment to strike. Never rush, that's exactly what the long pips player wants. They will try to jam you, block you, and slice you, waiting for you to make an error. Your footwork fails because you keep backing up and getting scared. They are just waiting for you to retreat or play a weak shot. Against a long pips return, just open your racket face. No matter how many times they chop block, you can lift the ball onto the table. In reality, the long pips player is the one under pressure. If you combine this with good rhythm and outlast them in rallies, they will be the first to crack. A long pips player's attack is only effective when they can confidently control you with their blocks. When your shot quality prevents them from controlling the rally, they'll be forced to attack, and their mindset will change completely. If you feel their attack is too fast, it's because your return quality is too low. Pin them down with a deep push to neutralize their aggressive scrape. Once their rhythm slows down, it creates ample time for your own footwork and stroke preparation. Now, let's discuss a classic tactic. Against long pips, you can alternate between attacking and pushing. For example, after your first attack, if the next ball is awkward, play a push. Then attack again, creating an attack-push rhythm. Push the difficult balls, but it's a mistake to push twice in a row. Your first push is backspin. When they lift it with their pips, the ball comes back as topspin. The spin sequence from long pips will be an alternating pattern of topspin and backspin. It's always one spinny ball followed by one dead ball. It's difficult for them to produce the same spin twice unless they just passively block. So, when in doubt, just push the ball. A classic and highly effective tactic I use against long pips is, push the first ball, then attack by changing the direction on the second. When they chop block your fast serve, attack immediately if you have a good opportunity. If it's a difficult return, push it deep to their backhand. When they scrape it back, immediately attack to a different placement. This is a very effective play. Long pips players also fear their own scrape being low quality, because that return has no spin. All you need to do is meet the ball early with a quick, compact stroke to get it on the table. There's no need for excessive spin or power. A common mistake against long pips is focusing only on getting the ball back. That's wrong. You should be focused on moving your opponent. For instance, serve to one corner, then push to their forehand to force movement. Don't just think about how to block the ball back. When you force the long pips player to move around the court, their error rate will increase. That's why pushing is essential in this matchup. When you push the ball, unless they are a high-level player who can twiddle, their scraped return will be slow. This slow ball is your prime attacking opportunity. This is how I win most of my points. Use a push to force them wide, and when their slow scrape comes back, attack with a quick, compact stroke to an open spot. Let's talk about the push technique. When pushing against long pips, don't just passively touch the ball, as this often leads to a high return. First, your racket angle must be vertical. The ball has a sinking effect, but it's not heavily spun. After you hit a topspin shot, their chop block will return with a sinking, backspin-like quality. Therefore, you must push with a vertical racket face. Second, pay attention to your rhythm when pushing. Don't rush. Rushing the push will almost always send the ball long. Rushing forces you to simply block passively. The correct way is to slow down your tempo and not hurry. Slowing down allows you to wait for the ball to start dropping. Making contact at this point, just after the peak of the bounce, ensures solid timing. If you try to push the ball on the rise, it will float and be very difficult to control. So, time your contact for the early descending phase of the ball's trajectory. This will produce a return that is both spinny and stable. If your forehand loop isn't consistent, use the same method. Keep your racket vertical, slow down, and push in a forward and downward motion. Don't be afraid of the long pips player's attack, because their attack is also slow. Its slowness is what gives us an opportunity. The reason we lose to professional players is because their ball speed is too high for us to react or execute a full stroke. But long pips is different. The ball comes back slow, giving us plenty of time to react. When it's difficult to attack, just push. When you have a clear chance, loop it decisively. If they return a high ball, keep attacking. If you often make mistakes on consecutive attacks, just play a safe shot and wait for their slow scraped return. Use that as your opportunity for a second attack. This tactic of push safely, then attack the placement is crucial. This is how I create winning opportunities against long pips.